So, my question today was if what you're doing isn't working, isn't it time to change? I think so often, it's not just if what you're doing, but if you're not getting the results quick enough or you're not seeing the growth that you want, isn't it time to change? Well, for most of my adult life, I studied personal development, goal setting, and how to achieve a goal, and yet it didn't seem to be working. And then there became this point in our lives where we were doing a remodeling project in our home, and we took every bit of equity out of our home, and then some very unexpected expenses started to mount up, and we had credit card after credit card, maxed out pretty much. And I kept thinking, all this time we've talked about how to set a goal and achieve a goal, and nothing was working. So I basically figured, even though personal development, I felt it made me a better person, it did not show me how to achieve goals. It just wasn't working for me. And then along comes my son, and if any of you've heard me talk about his story and how it impacted my life, he tells me he's going to get this full scholarship to college. And I'm thinking, it's not going to happen. This never works. And yet when it came, sure enough, he had over an $80,000 scholarship to college. I'm thinking, what am I getting wrong? I know he caused that. I know he set that goal and he achieved it. How comes I never achieved a goal like that? Sure, I had achieved little things along the way, but nothing massive in a quantum leap like that. So what was I missing? You see, it was time for me to start looking for other sources because I clearly did not have the answers I was looking for. So if it's not working, it's time to change. So I started searching, and it sent me on a journey to find the right people, the right materials that I could find that would show me how my son had achieved this. And yet all that time, I didn't feel like I achieved much of anything. So what I discovered was you have to find the right resources for you. And for me, one of my favorite books is The Science of Getting Rich, because in The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Wattles talks about there are certain laws that govern this process of acquiring riches. Well, that's what I was searching for in all that personal development was riches. I just became a better person. I just didn't get the riches. He says, once these laws are learned and obeyed by any man, not just certain people, any man, he will get rich with mathematical certainty. Isn't that an exciting thought, to get rich by mathematical certainty? There's a way to, all you have to do is follow the laws, and these are natural laws to the universe. And he says later on, getting rich is a result of doing things in a certain way. So if we do things in a certain way, we can get rich mathematical. And he says here that it doesn't matter, what kind of, where you are right now, because people with all kinds of talents and abilities will get rich, and some people with their same talents and abilities will remain poor. So it doesn't really, it's not a matter of what talents and abilities you have. It's a matter of doing things in a certain way. He says, if getting rich is a result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes produce like effects, then any man or woman who can do things in a certain way can become rich, and the whole matter is brought within the domain of an exact science. Are you ready to learn that science? There's a science of getting rich. Getting rich involves the necessity of dealing with men or women. So we have to deal with people. We can't just act on our own. We have to be able to, have good interactions with people, which is why it's so important to understand different personalities and how different personalities think and react to things. And he says people get rich in every business and in every profession, while their next door neighbor in the same vocation remains in poverty. So it's not a matter of what you choose to do, although you will do better when you're involved in something that you enjoy. So it's not a matter of what business you're in. It's doing things in a certain way. And then he talks about, and this is where it might get a little woo-woo for people, but you know what? So what if woo-woo is the answer? Do you know that it's not? Because what I call traditional goal setting did not work for me and had to be more the woo-woo. When my son got that scholarship, he was more doing this. He was an unconscious competent. He was doing things, following these natural laws, not realizing what he was doing. So he says here, there's a formless stuff and it's intelligent. And if this stuff thinks, it's alive and is always impelled towards more life. So when we get an idea in that formless substance, that formless stuff he talks about, then we too can have what it is we want. So it's a matter of doing things in a certain way. Now, just to, not just think this is just from one aspect, but one of the other books I read is by Neville Goddard. And he is he was in metaphysics. And what he talks about is the concept we hold of ourselves. And this is a big part of following these natural laws. He says here in short, man's conception of himself determines that which he sees his world to be. So the way you look at your world is determined by who you think you are. And so in order to accomplish the great things that we want in life, we have to be able to see ourselves in a different way. Again, if what you're seeing of yourself today is not what you want, isn't it time to change? Isn't it time to find out what things you may need to do or to think differently about yourself or about the world or about whatever's going on in order to shift your results? He says here, it's not the words that make it effective. It is the consciousness of being the thing which makes it effective. See, that's one of the first things you have to do. You have to become the person first. You have to see yourself as to have already accomplished that. That goes back and reflects on what Wallace D. Wallace talks about, what Napoleon Hill talks about, in that you have to see yourself as the person first. So I'd love to hear some comments from you. Reach out to me if you have other questions. I am doing a free 4-week, like just 1-hour sessions a week, sessions on how to shift your thinking so that you too can start accomplishing exactly what you want by not just writing down a goal, but by actually achieving that goal by using these natural laws of the universe. So this is Patricia Stupp with your Dream Power. Be the magic.